September 12, 2025, 2:34 p.m., Bata, Equatorial Guinea. The construction is almost complete. For 18 months, Chinese workers have been building what they call a deep-water port facility. Official purpose: commercial shipping, economic development, part of China's Belt and Road Initiative. But U.S. intelligence knows better. This isn't a port, it's a military base. And not just any base. Satellite imagery reveals something shocking: missile silos, launch infrastructure, command bunkers, everything needed for ballistic missile operations. China is building a missile base in Africa, 6,000 miles from Beijing, but only 5,500 miles from Washington, D.C. Close enough for Chinese DF-26 intermediate-range ballistic missiles to reach the U.S. East Coast. This is China's answer to American military presence in the Pacific. If the U.S. can threaten China from bases in Japan, South Korea, and Guam, China will threaten America from Africa. Navy warfare reveals how America discovered the base and what happened when confrontation became inevitable. The first clue came in March 2024. A commercial satellite operator noticed unusual construction in Equatorial Guinea. Near Bata, the country's largest city, the construction didn't match any announced projects. Large reinforced concrete structures, deep excavations, heavy security. The imagery was flagged, sold to multiple intelligence agencies. The CIA purchased access. Analysts reviewed the photos. Initial assessment: possible military facility. Unknown purpose. Monitor for developments. June 2024. The picture became clearer. More satellite passes, higher resolution. The structures matched known patterns. Missile launch facilities. The excavations were the right depth and dimensions for underground silos. The security perimeter was extensive: armed guards, fencing, restricted access. This wasn't commercial. This was military. But whose military? Equatorial Guinea's armed forces number only 1,450 personnel. They don't operate ballistic missiles. They barely have functioning aircraft. July 2024. Signal intelligence provided the answer. NSA intercepted communications between the construction site and Beijing. Chinese military officials. Discussion of deployment schedules and missile storage. The encryption was strong, but enough leaked through. This was a Chinese People's Liberation Army project. China was building a military base in Africa, without announcing it, without seeking international approval, in secret. August 2024, the intelligence assessment reached the president. Mr. President, we have confirmed that China is constructing a ballistic missile base in Equatorial Guinea. The facility will be capable of hosting DF-26 intermediate-range ballistic missiles. Range: 4,000 kilometers. With slight modifications, potentially 5,500 kilometers. That reaches the U.S. East Coast. The president stared at the satellite photos. Silos. Launch infrastructure. Chinese military presence in Africa. Threatening American territory from a continent that was supposed to be stable. Safe. Beyond the reach of great power military competition. When will it be operational? The president asked. Best estimate, 6 to 9 months. They're installing launch systems now. Once DF-26 missiles are shipped from China, the base could be fully operational within weeks. The president made a decision. We can't let this stand. Chinese missiles in Africa aimed at America? That's unacceptable. We stop this. Now. September 2025. The intelligence is declassified. The U.S. decides to go public. Expose the base. Force international pressure on China. Make it politically impossible for Beijing to continue. September 12th. The president addresses the nation. My fellow Americans, I want to share intelligence that affects our national security. China has constructed a ballistic missile base in the African nation of Equatorial Guinea. This base can host missiles capable of reaching American cities on the East Coast: Washington, New York, Miami, Atlanta, all within range. The president displays satellite imagery, the silos, the launch facilities, the Chinese military presence. Everything is visible, undeniable. This is unacceptable. China is placing offensive weapons thousands of miles from their territory, specifically to threaten the United States. We will not tolerate this. I am calling on the international community to condemn this action, and I am demanding that China dismantle this facility immediately. The revelation shocks the world. Comment if you'd be concerned about Chinese missiles in Africa aimed at your city. September 13th. China's response. Beijing's foreign ministry spokesperson appears at a press conference. The allegations by the United States are false. China's facility in Equatorial Guinea is a commercial port. It supports trade and economic development. There are no missiles, no military weapons. This is American propaganda designed to undermine China's peaceful development initiatives. But the satellite photos don't lie. The world has seen the evidence. Even China's allies are skeptical. September 14th. Equatorial Guinea's government is caught. President Teodoro Obiang Nguema has ruled Equatorial Guinea for 46 years, one of Africa's longest-serving dictators. His regime is corrupt, dependent on oil revenue and foreign support. China has been a major donor, billions in loans, infrastructure projects, economic aid. In exchange, Obiang allowed China to build the base. He probably didn't fully understand what he was agreeing to. Chinese officials presented it as a dual-use facility, commercial and limited military support. Obiang saw dollar signs, didn't think about the consequences. Now the United States is demanding answers. Did you authorize a Chinese missile base on your territory? Do you understand you're hosting weapons aimed at American cities? Obiang panics, issues a statement. Equatorial Guinea authorized a commercial port facility only. We did not consent to military weapons. If China has violated this agreement, we demand immediate clarification. He's lying, but trying to save himself, pretending ignorance, hoping to avoid American retaliation. September 15th, the African Union convenes emergency session. African nations are furious, not at the United States, at China. You're bringing great power military competition to our continent, making us a target. If America strikes this base, Equatorial Guinea, and possibly surrounding countries, could be hit. You've put us in danger. China tries to defend the project. This facility enhances regional security, provides stability, supports African development. Nobody buys it. African nations know a missile base when they see one, and they know it doesn't benefit Africa, it benefits China, at Africa's expense. The African Union passes a resolution, non-binding, but significant. China should remove all offensive military capabilities from African territory. The continent should remain free of great power military installations. China ignores the resolution. Construction continues. September 18th, the United States takes action. The President authorizes Option Scorpion, a military operation to neutralize the Chinese base, not with ground troops, not with invasion, but with precision strikes. Destroy the facility before it becomes operational. The legal justification is questionable. Equatorial Guinea is a sovereign nation. The base is on their territory. The U.S. can't just bomb it without authorization. But the strategic calculation is clear. Chinese missiles in Africa, aimed at America, are intolerable. Legal niceties can't protect American cities from nuclear-capable missiles. The Pentagon plans the operation. B-2 Spirit stealth bombers, AGM-158 JASSM cruise missiles, GBU-31 JDAM precision bombs, everything needed to obliterate the base in a single strike. Target date, September 24th, 6 days away. But first, diplomacy gets one more chance. September 20th, the ultimatum. The U.S. ambassador to the United Nations delivers a speech, direct, unambiguous. China has 72 hours to begin dismantling the missile base in Equatorial Guinea. If dismantlement does not commence by September 23rd at midnight UTC, the United States will take military action to neutralize this threat to American national security. 72 hours. That's the deadline. China must act, or America will. The Security Council chamber erupts. Russia supports China. This is American aggression. You have no right to threaten military action against a sovereign African nation. China's ambassador is equally defiant. There are no missiles in Equatorial Guinea. American threats are baseless. We will not be intimidated by false accusations. But behind the scenes, different conversations happen. China's leadership is debating. The base isn't operational yet. No missiles have been shipped. Is it worth war with the United States over an incomplete facility? Wait for what happens when China tries to rush missile shipments to the base. The U.S. Navy is waiting. September 21st, 3:47 a.m. Beijing time, emergency order. China's Central Military Commission makes a decision. Accelerate deployment. Ship DF-26 missiles to Equatorial Guinea immediately. Make the base operational before American strike. If the missiles are there, America won't risk hitting them. Too dangerous. They'll back down. It's a gamble. Rush missiles to Africa. Make the base a fait accompli. Force American acceptance through fear of escalation. The order goes to the rocket force. 6 DF-26 missiles are loaded onto a commercial cargo ship, Hangzhou Bay, covered, disguised as industrial equipment. The ship departs Ningbo Port. Destination: Bata, Equatorial Guinea. ETA: 18 days. Too late. But China has another option: air transport, faster but more visible. 2 Y-20 heavy cargo aircraft are loaded with missile components. Flight time to Equatorial Guinea: 12 hours, including refueling stops. They could arrive before the American deadline. September 21st, 11 a.m. Beijing time, the Y-20s take off. Destination: Bata. Route: over Indian Ocean, across East Africa, to Equatorial Guinea. The cargo is classified. Flight plans claim humanitarian supplies. But U.S. intelligence knows better. Satellites track the aircraft from departure. The CIA watches in real time. 2 Y-20s heading for the missile base. Carrying what? Probably missile components. Possibly complete DF-26 disassembled for transport. The president is briefed immediately. Sir, China is trying to rush missiles to the base before our deadline. 2 cargo planes en route. ETA Equatorial Guinea. Approximately 2100 UTC tonight. Can we stop them? Not easily, sir. They're in international airspace. We can't shoot down civilian aircraft, but we can intercept after they land. Destroy the missiles on the ground before installation. The decision: let the aircraft land, then strike. Destroy the missiles and the base simultaneously. Tomorrow night, September 22nd, before the deadline expires. September 21st, 9:00 p.m. UTC. The Y-20s land in Bata. The aircraft touched down at Bata International Airport. Chinese personnel and Equatorial Guinea military provide security. The cargo is offloaded quickly. Trucks transport it to the base, 15 kilometers away, under heavy guard. U.S. satellites observe everything: the trucks, the cargo, the route. Everything is documented. Targeting data is updated. The strike will hit the base and the missile storage area. Total destruction. September 22nd, 1 a.m. UTC, USS Georgia receives orders. The Ohio-class guided missile submarine is positioned off West Africa, submerged, invisible, carrying 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles, enough firepower to obliterate the Chinese base 10 times over. The order: execute Operation Scorpion. Launch window opens 2200 UTC. Target package: all structures at Bata Missile Facility. Authorization: presidential. Weapons free. The crew prepares. Missile targeting is verified. Launch sequences are programmed. Fire control is ready. In 21 hours, USS Georgia will launch the largest submarine cruise missile strike in history. September 22nd, 10 a.m. China makes last-minute move. Beijing realizes the Americans are serious. The deadline is expiring. Intelligence suggests U.S. military assets are positioning for strikes. This isn't a bluff. China's leadership debates. Some argue, we should complete the base, show strength. If America strikes, we respond. Hit American bases in the Pacific, make them pay. Others argue, this base isn't worth war. We haven't even installed the missiles yet. Cut our losses, withdraw, build elsewhere. The debate rages for hours. Finally, pragmatism wins. China's president makes the call. Withdraw from Equatorial Guinea. This base is compromised, not worth the risk. September 22nd, 6:00 p.m. UTC, China announces withdrawal. The People's Republic of China has decided to modify its development projects in Equatorial Guinea. The port facility will be redesigned for purely commercial use. All military-related infrastructure will be removed. This decision reflects China's commitment to peaceful development. Translation: We're backing down. The base is cancelled. You win. The announcement reaches Washington with 4 hours before the strike window. The president considers, is China really withdrawing or buying time? The intelligence is unclear. The decision: proceed with the strike. China had their chance. They tried to rush missiles in. That crossed the line. The base must be destroyed to ensure it never threatens America. Who made the right call? A. U.S. striking anyway. B. China withdrawing. C. Negotiate more? Vote. September 22nd, 10:03 p.m. UTC, USS Georgia launches. From a depth of 150 feet, 40 miles off the coast of Equatorial Guinea, the submarine begins launching Tomahawk cruise missiles, one every 8 seconds. Vertical launch tubes open. Missiles burst through the surface. Rocket boosters ignite. The missiles climb, then level off at 100 feet above the water. Total launch: 48 Tomahawk missiles, each carrying a 1,000-pound warhead, each targeted on specific buildings at the Chinese base: silos, command centers, barracks, storage facilities, launch control, everything. Flight time to target: 6 minutes. Speed: 550 miles per hour. The missiles fly low, hugging terrain, radar evading. By the time Equatorial Guinea's air defense, which barely exists, detects them, it's too late. September 22nd, 10:09 p.m. UTC, impact. 48 Tomahawk missiles hit the Chinese base simultaneously. The explosions light up the night. Each silo is struck by multiple missiles, bunker-penetrating warheads. The underground facilities collapse. The surface structures disintegrate. Within 90 seconds, the base ceases to exist. Every building destroyed, every silo cratered. The recently arrived missile components from the Y-20 aircraft obliterated. Nothing remains but rubble and fire. 0 casualties. The base was still under construction. Most personnel were at temporary housing off-site. The strike was timed when the base was least occupied. This wasn't about killing people. It was about destroying capability. September 22nd, 10:15 p.m., the world reacts. China's foreign ministry issues immediate condemnation. The United States has committed an act of war, attacking a facility in a sovereign African nation. This is aggression. This is imperialism. China will respond. Russia echoes. American unilateral military action violates international law. But many nations quietly support the strike. European allies, Asian partners, even some African nations. China was building offensive missiles aimed at American cities. What did they expect? That America would just accept it? Equatorial Guinea's government is silent. Obiang knows he made a mistake. Hosting Chinese missiles brought American bombs. He's lucky the strike was surgical. Targeted only the base. Didn't hit civilian areas. Didn't kill his people. September 23rd. China's dilemma. Beijing must respond. Losing a military base without retaliation looks weak. But what can they do? Attack American bases in the Pacific? That means war. And China isn't ready for war with the United States. Not yet. Economic retaliation? Sanctions? That hurts China as much as America. The economies are too intertwined. Cyber attacks? Possible. But America can respond in kind, and U.S. cyber capabilities are probably superior. China chooses symbolic retaliation. They expel the U.S. ambassador, recall their ambassador from Washington, freeze some bilateral cooperation, military exchanges canceled, diplomatic communications reduced. But no military response, because China knows they're outmatched. America destroyed their base. China can complain, but can't retaliate effectively. September 25th, Aftermath Assessment. The base is gone. Satellite imagery confirms total destruction. Nothing salvageable. China would need to start from scratch to rebuild, and after this, Equatorial Guinea won't host them again. Obiang learned his lesson. The Chinese missiles that arrived on the Y-20 aircraft? Destroyed in the strike. 6 DF-26 components reduced to scrap metal. Millions of dollars of military hardware obliterated. Beijing's ambitious plan to threaten America from Africa is finished. October 2025. Strategic implications. Navy warfare has the long-term analysis. The Equatorial Guinea crisis established several precedents. 1. The United States will not tolerate hostile missile bases near American territory. Monroe Doctrine applied to missile threats, not just military presence. 2. Precision strikes can neutralize threats without large-scale warfare. 48 cruise missiles destroyed a strategic threat in 90 seconds. No ground invasion needed. 3. China's global military ambitions have limits. They can build bases, but can't defend them if America decides to strike. Naval power projection works both ways. 4. African nations learned a hard lesson. Hosting great power military facilities makes you a target. The economic benefits aren't worth the security risks. 5. Submarine-launched cruise missiles are a decisive weapon. USS Georgia struck from underwater, invisible until impact. China never saw it coming. The base is destroyed. The threat is eliminated. American cities are safe from Chinese missiles in Africa. Mission accomplished. Justified preemptive strike or violation of sovereignty. Comment J for justified, V for violation. November 2025, China's revised strategy. Beijing abandons plans for overseas missile bases. Too vulnerable, too provocative. The Equatorial Guinea strike proved that America will destroy them before they're operational. Instead, China focuses on other methods. Submarine-launched missiles. Harder to target, more survivable. Hypersonic weapons that can't be intercepted. Technologies that bypass American defenses. The competition continues, but the rules are clearer. China won't build fixed missile bases threatening America, because America will destroy them. Deterrence works when enforced with action. December 2025, Equatorial Guinea's future. Obiang's regime is weakened. He allowed foreign military forces to endanger his country. Opposition groups point to the American strike as proof of his incompetence. Protests increase. By January 2026, Obiang agrees to internationally supervised elections. His 46-year rule is ending. Democracy might finally come to Equatorial Guinea. Ironically, the Chinese base and its destruction triggered political change. The base site is demolished completely, filled with concrete, turned into a memorial park, a reminder of what happens when small nations get caught between great powers. January 2026, long-term lessons. The Pentagon studies Operation Scorpion, perfect execution. Submarine-launched cruise missiles destroyed a strategic threat before it became operational. 0 American casualties, minimal collateral damage, maximum strategic effect. The operation becomes a model for future preemptive strikes. Identify threat, monitor development, strike before operational, deny adversaries the ability to threaten American territory from unexpected locations. China learns too. They study the strike. How did America detect the base so early? Satellites. How did they track the missile shipments? Intelligence network. How did they strike so precisely? Tomahawk accuracy. Every failure is analyzed. Every gap is identified. The competition continues. Each side learns from the other. Each side adapts. The struggle for strategic advantage never ends. Drop your prediction. Will China try another overseas missile base elsewhere? Navy warfare wants your strategic assessment. February 2026. The bigger picture. The Equatorial Guinea crisis was about more than one base. It was about establishing boundaries, defining what's acceptable in great power competition, where the red lines are. China tried to change the game, place missiles near American territory, force America to accept a new normal. It failed. America enforced its red line with military action. China backed down. But China will try again. Different location, different method, different time. The competition doesn't stop. It just changes form. The United States must remain vigilant, monitor Chinese activities globally, be ready to respond when red lines are crossed, maintain the capabilities to strike anywhere, anytime. That's what USS Georgia demonstrated. American submarines can reach any coast, launch devastating strikes, disappear without trace. That capability deters adversaries, keeps America safe. This is what Navy warfare covers: the intelligence that discovers threats, the submarines that eliminate them, the operations that protect American cities from missiles thousands of miles away. September 12, 2025. Satellite images revealed Chinese missile base in Africa. September 22nd. USS Georgia destroyed it with 48 Tomahawks. 90 seconds. Total destruction. Threat eliminated. No American casualties. No extended war. Just precise, overwhelming force applied at the right moment. That's modern naval power. That's strategic deterrence. That's how you defend the homeland in the 21st century. Subscribe to Navy Warfare, because the most important defenses happen before enemies expect them. The satellites watching, the submarines waiting, the missiles ready, the capability to strike threats anywhere on Earth. The Chinese base in Africa is gone. American cities remain safe. Deterrence is maintained. All because one submarine was in the right place, with 154 reasons to turn back, and the orders to use 48 of them. Real intelligence, real strikes, real defense. Navy warfare.